you want to know my opinion on what I think, just keep on watching. What's good? It's your girl Nisi here, and I'm back with another video. And in today's video, a big trigger warning. We're going to be talking about this evil nurse that's been harming black babies, specifically in the Virginia state in America. I don't even know where to start, but yeah, I'm gonna roll the clip and I'll be back.
Dominique Hackey, the father of one of the Henrico doctor's NICU babies found to have broken bones in 2023, concerned that it has taken so long for justice.
I remember her being in the room. She was friendly, she answered questions, but she didn't stay and talk like the other NICU nurses did. She wasn't family like the other NICU nurses were.
He's describing 26-year-old Erin Strotman, the nurse now in jail, charged with felony child neglect and felony malicious wounding, related to a different baby in 2024. Strotman was put on paid administrative leave by the hospital for a year after the 2023 cases of NICU abuse came to light, and then was allowed to return in late 2024. Hackey saying the hospital should be held accountable as well.
Because that shouldn't have happened. If they were suspicious of some person enough to let him go, they shouldn't have brought him back. So that's on them. They failed. Simple.
HCA, the network that oversees Henrico Doctors Hospital, issuing this statement, saying in part it is shocked and saddened by this development in the investigation, and that the hospital is focused on continuing to care for its patients. Strotman was just fired from her job, Henrico police arresting her that night. Henrico's Commonwealth's attorney, Shannon Taylor, says the investigation is not over and more charges could come as detectives continue to review NICU video footage.
Yeah, so as you just seen in that clip, she's been harming black babies specifically. You know what's really sad? Okay, first of all, because this is in America, the UK, well, we've been going back and forth, but recently we've had a nurse that was harming, well, she actually killed, she didn't even harm, she killed 7 babies and then was planning to kill more, but obviously she got caught. Her name is Lucy Letby, and yeah, it's just weird. Like, so obviously a lot of people reporting on this on YouTube, you know, they're comparing the two. Obviously with Lucy over here, she was just killing any baby. A lot of parents that I've seen of babies that she killed, a lot of the parents were white, but like I said, this one in America, she's just specifically killing or harming black babies. That clip of the dad, you know, talking about his son and like how did his leg just end up being, you know, fractured, it's just heartbreaking. And then even like this twin, where one twin was flourishing while the other twin was, you know what I mean, just had all these random broken bones all of a sudden. And you know what the wickedest thing is with this story? These babies are like born like, you know, maybe premature, or maybe something didn't develop, so they've got to stay in the hospital. So, you know what I mean? They're already suffering already. But then on top of that, you've got this evil nurse doing evil stuff for them. I remember with my last son, they were like, you know, when you give birth, you're in pain, you just want to rest, you want to stay in bed. They had to do like a couple of tests. All babies do it, especially babies of colour. Like, you've got to check for, you know, sickle cell and all them kind of things there. So they do that the prick test that they do in the foot, and they were like, oh, do you want to come, or do you just want? I was just like, let me come. So, you know, I put on my dressing gown. I'm just like walking like a granny because I'm like in so much pain, I'm bleeding, healing. But never leave your baby's side. I can't remember where my partner was. I think he was with the older kids. So it was just me, and they were doing the test really early in the morning, so visiting time wasn't even open. But just try, for new parents, people expecting, always try and be with your baby literally all the time, because you just don't know, and you just can't trust people. I remember these nurses, doctors, they're human. You don't know them. You don't know them. I know they take an oath, because I have studied like health and social care and nursing. You take an oath that you will look after people, you won't be, you know, racist, prejudice, you know, homophobic, you know, all them things there, but people gonna do them. You know, once they've got that degree, the certificate, you know, the doctor, the nurse, like, they're just gonna do them. So It's heartbreaking hearing these type of stories, but at the same time, I'm not surprised. And coming from Manchester, I remember a couple of years, I'm not going to mention a certain hospital, but it's one of those, if you know, you know. You just don't go to that hospital, because basically a couple of years ago, people were just dying like back to back. And recently, because I've been ill, I got ill after New Year's and I had to be hospitalized. And I remember the ambulance saying, what hospital do you want to go to? And I told them the correct hospital, because I don't want them taking me to that hospital where people just be out here dying like. But yeah, let's get into people's reactions to this crazy story.
Targeted Black babies and broke the bones of 7 babies at a NICU unit. The abuse occurred at Henrico Doctors Hospital in Virginia. Over a 2-year period, this nurse was breaking the bones of NICU babies, the most vulnerable, and she only targeted Black babies. The reason she was discovered is because a couple had their twins at the hospital. One twin was doing better than the other, which is usually the case, and the one twin that was thriving ended up with a broken leg under this nurse's care. Why did it take 7 children?
I just saw this video by Jalen Johnson about a NICU nurse named Erin Strotman who was found hurting children. She was arrested after 3 preemie babies in 1 year were found with broken bones. One was a femur, it was a twin, and her femur was snapped. Now, in my mind, there was actually 7. I haven't done the research into exactly the infant and how they're doing, but I will do an update in the future. But I must say that NICU nurses, as many times as me, as an ultrasound tech, have gone to the NICU to do scans, which is multiple, there have always been more than 2 nurses in the NICU, if not 2 at a minimum. I've never walked into one nurse sitting there. There's always a full staff. Good. So the fact that she found the time to hurt these babies means that if she had more time to be alone, there would be more hurt children. And what about the nurses that get reported? This is a very suspicious situation.
Just in case you thought systemic racism wasn't a thing, let's take a look at this story of a Caucasian nurse who's been breaking the bones of NICU infants. Yes, you heard that right, NICU infants. While they're in the NICU, trying to hold on for dear life, grow, put on some weight, bond with their caregivers, and make it successfully out of there so that they can go on to live their lives. She's trying to end their lives before they even started. And to think that she was granted paid administrative leave just goes to show you how systemic this racism is. If this is not a sign for us to rally up, get our money up, either leave or be our own bosses, and ensure that we're not entrusting the care of our precious little children to people who could potentially want to harm them, I don't know what is. I am livid, I'm sad, I'm heartbroken for the families of those babies, and I hope they get the justice they deserve by her being, yeah. That's all I have to say about that.
Y'all, this story got me a little bit emotional because it hits really close to home for me. So in Virginia at Henrico Doctors Hospital, they have a NICU, okay? And in that NICU, babies started showing up with unexplained fractures and wounds. Now, this apparently happened over the summer, then it got a little bit better, and then it started happening again. It also happened a few times in 2023, to the point that the NICU said, we are shutting this down, no more NICU admissions until we figure out what's going on. And an investigation was launched, and it turned out a 26-year-old nurse by the name of Elizabeth Strotman was the one who is allegedly committing these acts, apparently for just funsies. Now, she's been charged with malicious wounding and felony child abuse, but let me kind of put my take on this. My daughter was born at 29 weeks and 3 days. We spent 43 days in the NICU. These babies are the most vulnerable of the most vulnerable. And the fact that somebody could harm children, let alone premature infants, is beyond reprehensible. And I hope that the full weight of the law comes down on her. So I will say this too. If you had a child in the NICU at Henrico Doctors Hospital in Virginia and you dealt with a fracture sometime while you were there, you may want to reach out to investigators.
A nurse in America called Erin Strotman jailed for deliberately breaking the bones of NICU babies. Black, premature babies. Like, what on earth? So in the month of November, literally, I think about 3 to 4 babies who had unexplained injuries, like just broken bones. And this lady was going around deliberately breaking the bones of these babies. Like, what goes through your head to think, oh yeah, let me just go do that? Like, Erin Strotman was actually put on paid administrative leave for 1 year. So the hospital knew something fishy was going on. Obviously, the hospital must have known something was going on. Like, if one of your nurses, you know that this is happening, first of all, you pay her. You put her on paid leave. Second, you take her back to allow her to continue to do these things. Like, I'm just so confused. In the summer, this had also happened. So, like, I think 4 additional babies in the summer. So this is like 8 babies in total. Guys, I'm still so shocked. Like, this woman has shown you her true colors. Why are you bringing this woman back? This woman lacks compassion. This woman lacks empathy. Like, everything that a nurse stands for, this is, like, what nurse would just... It's wild to me that the hospital knows that she is harming these babies, black babies, and just willingly accepted her back. And only now are they doing something about it. A whole year later, they're doing something about it.
This woman, yeah, her, she's an RN. And she was just arrested for breaking the bones of black newborns in the NICU. 26-year-old Erin Elizabeth Ann Strotman of Virginia was booked on charges of aggravated child abuse and malicious wounding. So at the hospital this occurred at, there would be like strings of like 3 or 4 babies that would end up with like fractures all over them and nobody could figure out why. In fact, the hospital actually had to shut down its NICU to do this investigation, putting how many newborns in harm's way in doing so. We don't know. I do want to mention that Elizabeth Strotman was previously put on leave per an investigation into her for an entire year. I do want to mention that it was a paid administrative leave, but then the hospital brought her back and this continued to happen. Thank goodness that some of these parents called CPS to really kick this investigation into high gear. Nurses take an oath not to harm. So how is it possible that these nurses can harm the most innocent of us? Disgusting. Jail. I would say goodnight, my precious, but like, this story bummed me out, dude. Yuck.
Obviously, people want the hospital to be closed down. They closed down that part of the hospital, so then obviously people will complain about, oh, what about the babies in need? But for me, I wouldn't want my child in that hospital. Like, hello, especially that I'm, this colour, but I don't know why anyone would want to go to that hospital. I don't know if there's like a hospital that's close, but where I come from, there's quite like a couple of hospitals that are not too far from each other. But yeah, you know what I mean? She got suspended, but she still got paid. And then I think, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm sure she was allowed to come back. And it's just like, how? And now with this nurse over here in the UK, she's been arrested and stuff. But now they're debating, like, maybe they were a bit too harsh or too quick with judging her. But try and say that to the parents. And the one in the UK, that's worse because she killed babies. I'm not saying the one in America is any better because she fractured bones and things like that. But this one was killing babies, and now they're saying, maybe we were a bit rational, maybe it was a bit hard on her. And it's just like, tell that to the parents that lost their baby. Like, what? Like, can you imagine being pregnant the whole 9 months, you do it at the nursery, and then you have the baby, that your baby's fine, and then your baby all of a sudden dies. And then years later, come to find out, oh yeah, it got murdered by you know what I mean? Like, this is crazy. But yeah, guys, let me know in the comments your thoughts on what you think of this crazy story from the one in the UK and the one in America. Please like, comment, subscribe, and share this video. Stay safe, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.